In the evening, when the church had emptied and the candles still smoldered on the altar, Father Jonathan closed the heavy wooden doors. The bells were silent. The floorboards creaked. He was left alone with the silence, familiar, but tonight, unnerving. In the confessional, where the most private prayers had been whispered daily, he found a piece of paper, folded in half, gently crumpled as though held in a trembling hand for far too long. The handwriting, neat yet quivering. My name is Mary Ann, but it is not true. I took someone else's name to tell the truth about myself. I will not dare to speak it out loud, but I am tired of being silent. 30 years ago, I remained silent when I should have spoken, and I betrayed the dearest person in my life. She lost her newborn daughter. I lost my prayer. Since then, every Our Father has echoed through glass. Jonathan read the letter 3 times. Each sentence was like a needle. Silence that had stretched for decades suddenly roared louder than any confession. He did not know who she was, but he knew this was no fiction. This was someone's pain, raw, alive. That night, he could not sleep. The next morning before Mass, he read the letter again. The words burned, not because they were shocking, but because they were all too familiar. He too had once been silent. At his sister's hospital bedside, she had asked, "Pray with me if he still listens." He froze and did not. And so he felt this woman was not distant. She was near, perhaps sitting in a pew, perhaps holding a cup, perhaps watching him each Sunday. He began speaking in sermons about the betrayal of silence, how silence can kill love, friendship, faith, how silence is an answer, often darker than falsehood. People listened but did not ask. The church remained quiet, but it was no longer empty. It was weighted, tense, as if everyone knew something and would not say, as if that one letter had opened not one heart but a row of shadows. A week later, Father Jonathan received another letter, this time unsigned. I saw her, she stood nearby, she could have spoken the truth, but she remained silent, and I lost my daughter. I do not accuse, I carry this like a scar beneath my skin. This letter came from another woman, perhaps the same friend, or perhaps the mother of that child. Father Jonathan prayed again, not for someone, but with someone, with all who suffer in silence. One day a woman entered the church, gray-haired, slender, eyes sunk in shadow. She did not kneel at the altar, she did not pray, she simply stood against the wall, watching. Jonathan approached her. She said only one thing. "I left a letter." "I know," he replied. "I did not come seeking forgiveness. I came to see if the church still stands." In those words echoed everything: fear, shame, hope, distrust, ache, and an attempt to emerge from darkness. They spoke no more, but she came again, sat in the last row, wearing the same dress, always silent. Jonathan understood. It was not silence. It was a cry that had yet to learn words. She came every Sunday. She did not approach the altar. She did not receive communion. She did not kneel. She simply sat. Then, after everyone else had left, she remained, alone, in the back row. On the third week, she approached the confessional. She did not enter. She simply placed on the bench something wrapped in cloth. By the time Jonathan came, she had gone. Inside was a pale infant swaddle cloth, and beneath it the full letter, the truth at long last. I remained silent because I was afraid. Not of judgment, but that love would fade. Afraid they would exclude me, call me traitor, damn my name. But my silence became a greater sin than any truth. I heard her cry in that room. I knew her baby was still alive when those doors closed. And I walked away. I just walked away. I knew God saw me, but I feared his gaze more than my own heart. Jonathan read and wept, not in condemnation but recognition. This was not merely sin. It was the fragile edge of humanity, where faith collapses, where one closes within oneself, where conscience dies not in a moment but slowly, day by day. The following Sunday, during the service, Father Jonathan spoke from his heart. Sometimes a person remains silent, not out of fear of truth, but fear of what comes after truth. Sometimes the worst deeds are not what we did, but what we failed to stop. Not because we were evil, but because we were small. Fear is not weakness, but when it rules life, it is shadow, not light. The church is not just a place of forgiveness, it is a place of encounter. An encounter with who we have become, and with who we might still become. After the service, she stayed, but not alone this time. An elderly woman with cropped gray hair approached, holding a small candle. She said nothing. She simply placed the candle beside her and sat down. Two women, their silence separated by 30 years, and not a word spoken. Yet now, the silence did not divide, it joined. There is no happy ending here. Pain does not vanish in a day. But this story holds truth, and presence, and a space where one can remain alive even after being dead inside. Because confession is not the end. It is a return not to the past, but to presence, to oneself, to God, to those we betrayed and still love.